Is that we take so much pride in honoring our local military veterans who continue to give back to the community. And thanks to our partner, Sanderson Ford, we continue our ABC15 Salutes Arizona Veterans campaign. Our next honoree is veteran Jim Frost with the United States Army. Jim spent most of his military career working with war dogs, or as they are called today, military working dogs, and their handlers while serving in Vietnam. Knowing the sacrifices they made serving our country, Jim worked tirelessly to educate and raise money to help build a national monument to honor these heroes. And he wants the public to know that without the war dog, tens of thousands of names would have been added to the wall.
While I was at Okinawa, there was military police had their sentry dog training school on their Yomatan point. So I asked to go to the school because I like dogs and been around dogs all my life. And I got accepted to school while I was still serving a tour on Okinawa, and worked alongside the enlisted that were being assigned to their own dogs to go to Vietnam. After my tour in Vietnam finished up, I was able to go back to Okinawa. And I was kind of the company commander or the commander of the sentry dog training school. The canine handlers were just a fantastic group of guys that you worked with. They were proud to be a handler. They were proud to be, really, they were proud to be over there. They didn't like being over there, but they were proud of the job they were doing. They couldn't wait to get home. They got home. Most of them got home. You know, you lost a few, and you think about those a lot. These military working dogs, back then we called them war dogs, and I still like to call them war dogs because that's what they were. They knew they had a job. They're working dogs, so that's what they want to do, is have a job, something to do. That's what makes them happy. Army also had the scout dogs, and you know, they were there to search out in front and see what kind of danger, if they could sense you know, the presence of the enemy. There was such an incredible bond between the handler and the dog, just totally unbreakable, and the trust is something that can be so strong. When they're out in the field, the dog is the boss, and the handler has to recognize what the dog is communicating to him. The dog is trusting the handler to recognize those signs, because the dog knows its job probably better than the human does sometimes. There were approximately 4,000 dogs that were used in Vietnam. That's the highest number of dogs that were ever used in an American conflict. About 300 were killed in action, mainly scout dogs and tunnel dogs. The tunnel dogs are trained to go into a tunnel to search for the caches of weapons, and even some of the VC that might be hiding out at the time. Less than 200 came back to the States, because back then they were equipment. And when the Vietnam War wound down, they became surplus equipment. And over 3,000 were either turned over to the South Vietnamese or they were euthanized. Turned over to South Vietnamese was pretty much a death sentence. We didn't know about that really until about 1996. And there was a tremendous outcry, not only with us, but with other civilians. But it traumatized a lot of the guys that worked with those dogs all over again when they found out about what happened. I was on the board of directors. John Burnham, he really wanted to get a national monument constructed for these dogs. In 2009, then he got the congressional authorization for a national monument to be constructed. And I decided to set up a booth at different events. At some of the dog shows, we had t-shirts and coffee mugs and ball caps there for the monument, and I'd sell those. And all the money I made, I'd send in for the monument funding. At the monument, I was able to give a little bit of talk at the dedication. And I said, for you Vietnam guys, your dog is home. He's home now. He's going to be out here anytime you visit this monument to greet you. Just, you know, you can't forget him.
And we are so honored to have Jim Frost right here in the studio with us today. Jim, first of all, thank you for your service. What do you think when you watch that piece, and do you even realize the passion that you have for these war dogs?
Sometimes I do. Not while I'm talking, most of the time I don't. It just starts coming out and I can't stop.
Yeah. You worked so hard in helping to raise money. You must have had to have sold a lot of mugs and a lot of t-shirts.
We did. The people here in the valley gave my booth a lot of support over the years, and I've just never ever been able to thank them enough for the support that they gave me on that booth at the different events I set up at.
I know, and I know you miss doing that. You miss talking to
yeah.
people about the military dogs. But you also worked tirelessly to make sure that they were present in the Veterans Day Parade. And you've been doing the parade since 2001. What is the reaction from people on the sidelines when you walk the Veterans Day Parade with the dogs?
I personally think we probably get the biggest cheer of any entry in the parade. You know, it's a popular entry. The people like seeing those dogs walking down the street. I think the dogs enjoy it too. They kind of prance a little bit when they're going through the crowd.
You think they know that they're being
I think they do.
Cheered
you know,
on?
a lot of these dogs, you know, from the German Shepherd Club, the Lab, the Dobermans, some of these dogs are show dogs, so they're used to being in front of people anyway and showing off a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, for all of your efforts and everything that you have done since returning from Vietnam, we thank you for your continued community service, and along with our partners at Sanderson Ford, as a thank you here at ABC15, we'd like to give you a $500 Visa gift card.
I tell you, that means a lot, and I really thank you guys, and I thank Sanderson Ford for this, and I thank the guys I served with back then. They earned this too.
Yes, they did. Yes, they
So,
did. And
thank
Jim,
you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you once again. Thank you for sharing your story.
Sure.
And we'll be right back.